Good morning. I'm Carlton Sharp, pastor of Faith Christian Center Church, right here in Beaumont, Texas. And we're here on what's happening in our neighborhood. And my special guest again today is Mr. Mo from the DA Investigation Department. Welcome back, Mo.
Thanks, Pastor.
Hey, we ended up talking about, how the community, needs to get involved. But some of the things that you're seeing now is that these young people are doing alcohol and drugs. So tell us about that.
The experimentation side of adolescence, was high school maybe in the past. You've got kids in middle school that are trying all kinds of things, and not just trying them, some of them are selling them.
Yeah.
And so, you have to break this down in kind of a fork in the road as we use in some of our talks. Addiction is a disease. When someone is an addict, you get treatment. And so that's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about young people thinking they're bulletproof or making an excuse to say it's okay to get high, or it's okay to take these 2 bar pills and drink these 3 beers and then go get in a car. Or, let's be honest, when you're not of your full mental faculties, a fight breaks out or a situation sets out where a decision has to be made. You're probably not going to make the right decision based on what you've put into your body. Now, some of these youngsters use it as almost like fuel. It's courage.
Wow.
And so we've got to get the mindset of it's okay to not drink. It's okay to not get high. It's okay to walk away and not be in that group. I keep pushing the Boys and Girls Club because that's one of the things that they do. Instill leadership skills in these youngsters at a young age. You want to lead, do it in the classroom, do it on the field, do it in your community, do it as a mentor. Don't do it because you can drink the most or because you can get high and you box the best. Those are just excuses which are setting us up for failure.
Mo, I was talking to a teacher this past year, and that teacher was telling me how a 7th or 8th grader was walked out of school because they were selling drugs in the school.
Yes, sir.
At 7th and 8th
Yes, sir.
grader.
This is not, I always hear, well, Mo, that's never happened before. Or Mo, that's not how it used to be. We've got to get out of that mindset. We have to realize today, June or July 2017, what is our situation? What is our actual situation? Break it down. And, we've gone into some of these schools with PowerPoint presentations to show them, for example, on these phones. I have parents tell me all the time, well, I know who little Johnny or little Susie talks to. I look at the phone bill. If that's what you're looking at, you're lost.
Because they got these apps now?
These apps,
Woo.
exactly. Apps, social media, and the same thing with drugs. Some of these synthetic drugs, if you're sitting there thinking, well, when I was in school, I know what marijuana smells like. I know what liquor smells like. You're lost. Your kid's going to come in, and so educating ourselves, unfortunately, is paramount. Because if not, how can we talk to our kids? And I don't mean just on drugs. Terminology. If you hear certain words, street slang, there's certain words that should send just that, what did he just say? Or what did she just say? And that should immediately start a dialogue with your child. Or if you may not be able to, let them have somebody that they can go to. And I keep going back to the Boys and Girls Club and the mentoring, but that is where you have to build a foundation. The other thing too, I've learned since helping out the Boys and Girls Club, if a child does not read at a 3rd grade level by 3rd grade, the alcoholism, the drug abuse, the literacy rates, everything skyrockets.
Wow.
So we've got to get our kids back to wanting to learn, they don't have to get all A's, but we've got to keep them focused. Look at the area we live in. Look at the refineries. You can make a great living.
A ton of money.
A ton of money if you just educate yourself and don't recreationally use drugs.
Now, Mo, that's good because now these employers are looking for employees, but they can't pass the drug test.
Exactly. And I want to be very careful when I say this because addiction is a totally different sidestep that we're
recreational.
I'm talking about young people that say, you know what, I worked my 40 hours, I'm going to go smoke this blunt, or I feel better when I take this bar pill. You can't do that. If I did that, I'd lose my job. I'd lose my career, credibility, my ability to pay my bills, take care of my family.
Yeah.
But more importantly, what are we teaching our young people? If we're going to sit here and do shows like this and go out and talk to our kids and say, hey, you have to do A, B, C, and D, then why are we going from A to D and forgetting about B and C? Because we have to do what we say. And so recreational drug use is out the window. These employers can't hire you because of what? Liability issues, insurance. You work in a place like ExxonMobil or Valero, and I'm not speaking for them.
Yeah.
But any kind of refinery like that, they can't have the liability of somebody that has a dirty UA. That's
Right.
just, now, I know that there's programs in place for people that may step across the other side, and once they're employed, have an addiction issue. They get treatment. They get help, just like a police officer or a teacher or anyone else. But coming into a job market, you can't say, hey, I just smoke weed, hire me anyways. It's just not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. So Mo, when you're on the streets and all of this, the violence and the crime, are you seeing a correlation between the drug use and the crime?
Yes, and it's in two parts, because you've got what I call your predator side. You've got guys that they're not going to be addicts themselves, or even they may be recreational users, but all they're doing out there is trying to make money. So they're going to push crack, they're going to push highly addictive drugs on a neighborhood or an area. But then you have others that just want to fit in, and the problem is they're out there trying to fit in with people they shouldn't even be around. So you drink that beer at first, and then all of a sudden somebody hands you a blunt. And let's be honest, Pastor, marijuana today is not what marijuana was in the past. You don't know what these guys
Or are
lacing it with, sprinkling it with, the synthetic. It is horrible. Some of the lab results that we get back, if people would know that rat poison, just different stuff that could kill your brain first time depending on the potency, and it's like they're just okay to roll the dice. Well, it didn't happen to my buddy, so I'm going to try it.
Wow.
That's what we have to change. We got to be able to say, nah, youngster, why even put yourself here? 14, 15, I was working. I hung out too, but it was, this is my biggest thing too. If we instill work ethic and virtue into some of our youngsters and they earn things. I used to tell, when I used to work the street, I'd tell these guys, look, we had a dispatcher who owned a lawn service. And I tell them, I'm going to get you a job cutting grass. That's your money. That's honest money in your pocket. You don't have to look over your shoulder.
Right.
If a blue and white comes on the street, that's what they call patrol cars, you don't have to look over your shoulder because that's your money that you earned. They can't take it from you. And unfortunately, 9 out of 10 would last about a day or two, and they'd be back on it and say, hey, look, that ain't for us. But that 1 out of 10 would say, hey, man, this is my money. I bought these shoes. Or I did. And so if you earn it, you're going to be a lot less willing to just give it away. So if we take stock and we slowly build them up, Miss Sanders having this middle school camp this summer at the Boys and Girls Club, and at the end of it, they're having a kind of a garage rummage sale.
Right.
But they're teaching the kids the business side of it.
How to do business. Yeah.
Here's your budget. Here's what we're going to try and do. If we make X amount of money, then this is what you can do. And teaching them how to fill out a job application, teaching them how to fill out their Social Security information, how to interview, how to talk, how to shake someone's hand. All things that you would think are commonplace. A lot of youngsters just don't get that anymore. So that's what we got to go way back and start. And it's going to take all of us. It's not like we talked earlier. It's not a pill. It's not a mess. There's not a medicine we can take. It's fundamentals that we have to push. And if it's not in a certain home, then we have to be responsible to say, hey, they're having it hard at this house. I'm not going to judge them, but we're going to help build this little kid up or build this little young lady up.
Right.
And it may take a coach, a teacher, a pastor, a cop, whoever. But it's going to have to be everybody coming together. And like you said, too, this isn't a one-week fix. This is going to take some time.
Well, yesterday when we talked, we said today we're going to talk about solutions on what we can do together to help solve this problem. So what are some of the things that you see that we can do collectively to say, hey, let's help in this challenge?
I think communication is key, and not just when something goes boom or when you have a rise in crime or an isolated incident. I think that, on a regular basis, and I can't give you a timeline if it's once a month but say, hey, what's going on? What's good? What's bad? Because we may be saying the same things or not, or get the police, get the pastors, get the schools, the coaches, everyone together. And it doesn't have to be a fixed meeting. Because the other problem is when you have big meetings and everybody's sitting around, not a lot gets done.
Right.
But if it's a collective communication, if it's a group email, if it's a group text, I may shed some light on something. You may shed some light on something to me that I'm having an issue, understanding. And Now, if something major happens, yeah, hey, we need to sit down and all come to the table and figure out how to do this. But I just think we need to go back to grassroots. I mean, this isn't a big money thing or a rich poor thing. I just think people need to sit down and say, you may speak different than I do. You may look different than I do, but we have the same problems.
Right, right. So now, earlier you mentioned about the Boys and Girls Club, with the Salvation Army. So what do you do to help them, in their program?
I'm currently on their board of directors. Captain Marvels just came from South Carolina. He wants to get super involved in the schools and help, in the schools. A lot of people think of Boys and Girls Club, they think sports. There's a lot more than sports. There's life skills that need to be trained. Some of these kids the families don't have the financial ability to do that. Honestly, if you're going to put me on Front Street, we need companies and people to step up. Our Boys and Girls Club is in dire need. We should be doing way more. And I think that we have, with industry, with business, with individuals, we can grow a place to where we're talking about these kids that are on the corner or out in the apartments. If they had a place to go,
yeah.
Miss Sanders built it up with the schools now where some kids, let's be honest, they're not going to have a ride to the club, and their buses aren't working. So they're actually in the schools. If the kid's already in the school and they have an after-school program to help with tutoring, to help with mentoring, they don't have to leave. They're already there. And you have the right people in place. They feed them is another thing. So there's programs in place. And I think when things happen, everyone wants to start different Let's see what we have.
Yeah.
Let's see what we have, and let's utilize what we have. And if it's not effective because of finances, let's add some finances. If it's not effective because it really doesn't work, well, then let's change the plan. Let's change the approach. But I think it's going to take everyone's mind and body coming together and sitting down and saying, okay, here's the issue. How are we going to deal with this one?
And we have to start early, Mo. We can't wait until they're going to high school. We got to start early, second grade.
Exactly. As I say, if you start at middle school, you've already lost them.
Yeah.
Because there's kids in middle school who are already scared.
Wow.
You said it yourself. The kid that was escorted off campus because of drugs. I can tell you that I know for a fact there's those kind of things going on. And a teacher has to be able to teach, just like a student has to be able to learn. And so I'm of the opinion 10% commit 90% of your problems.
Wow.
Let's deal with that 10%. And on a younger level, why wait till they become a case or a case number? Let's see why that youngster is acting that way. Is there something broken in the home? If there is, we may not fix it, but we may be able to fix him or her. Give them the tools. But I think we're scared to state the obvious sometimes because you don't want to offend somebody. And that's what we have to get past. We have to be able to discuss real topics, real facts, and deal with real problems.
Now, Mo, you are different in that you go out into the neighborhoods. You actually go out and just talk to folk. Mm-hmm. Now, because, in many communities, they are afraid of the police.
I think social media and media has had an unfortunate problem. And let me get this off my chest. Good doctors, bad doctors, good teachers, bad teachers, good cops and bad cops.
Yep.
So I'm not going to say that they're, infallible. But I hear things get dealt with. On another level, you've got departments that are out there going into the communities. You've got these community response units. You've got the cops and kids, the Blue Santa. So I think in the past, that may have been an issue, but now they're really trying to bridge that gap locally.
Right.
There's a lot of programs where we've had, there's an Explore program. So there's enough things going on that if people want to get involved, the Citizens Police Academy, there's been people who I know were anti-police before because they didn't know,
Right.
And it's kind of like the dentist. If people think they'll get a root canal, your mouth's going to hurt every time you go see them, people say, oh, the dentist.
Yeah.
Well, they're really not that bad.
They're not.
So one person may have a bad interaction with an officer, and it may stick with them when that was just that one person. So I think the more interaction, the more communication, and it goes both ways.
Right.
Because you got to understand, a lot of these cops, they're just normal, their parents, grandparents, they're just like everybody else. But it's the fact of, it's funny to me sometimes. I'll walk up to people and shake their hand or say hi, and they look at me like I'm an alien. And I'm like, what? Oh, well, man, cops don't usually talk. I'm like, that's not really true. And then they go, well, I know that, and they'll know one, and they'll know two, and they'll know three. but it's just kind of the uncomfortableness. And once you get past that, you know, it's kind of like when I was a baby patrolman, they couldn't tell you to go write tickets, but they could tell you go contact, you know, go stop somebody. 6 o'clock in the morning, going down Gulfway Drive in Port Arthur back in the day, I stopped someone. Most of the time they were going to work. And I wouldn't stop unless they were like 20 over. But, you know, you pull them over and they're already, you know, just grabbing stuff. Walk up to them and say, hey, what time did you get up this morning? Well, 5:40.
I got to be there for 6.
Do me a favor. Get up at 5:20 tomorrow. That way you won't be speeding through here and you'll get to work on time and you won't be speeding. The next day or the next week, you might get a little horn and a little, you know, they'll wave at you with 2 fingers, not one. But you get your point across both ways, and then they realize, okay, they're just doing their job. But at the same time, they go, you know what, there's school buses out here at this time. So it's just communication. It's how you say things. It's how you do things. Same way we were talking about the youngsters. Learn how to effectively communicate. How I talk to one person may not be the same way I talk to another.
Well, listen, Mo, I think you have some great ideas on how we can bring this thing together. But before I let you leave today, you know, I know that you told me earlier that you are a cowboy hater.
100%. 100%.
I just can't believe that, Mo. You're in Southeast Texas. And
the Texans are my B team. They're my number 2 team. But go Redskins.
Go Reds. Hold on, Mo. You're in Southeast Texas, though.
I was born and raised watching Joe Theismann, John Rick. Look, back when football was football, I could name Randy White, Ed Too Tall Jones, Drew Pearson, Everson. You know, you knew who. The fun bunch. Cowboys and Redskins have always hated each other. See, my problem now is I cook a lot. So I've got all these Cowboy fans come to my house, eat all my food, talk trash, and then leave. But
you have adopted a Texas team now as your B team.
I've got Texans gear, but my Redskins jersey says Cowboy Hater on the back.
And you even showed me a pair of tennis shoes that you got coming.
That's a secret. They don't know yet. They haven't. This season they'll be broken out.
But listen, I want to thank Mo for coming and sharing these what's happening in our neighborhood. Hey, listen, we do have a serious challenge. Again, I like to stress this point that it's not going to happen overnight that change comes. It's going to take a concerted effort by everybody to do what we need done to change the environment. And we can do it. We really have the ability to do it right now. We have the resources in many cases to do the things that needs to be done. But then, like he said, if we need more, we just have to ask for more. But right now, parents, let's start with you. Monitor your children and who they're hanging with. You know, you just can't let them just hang with anybody because you don't know what type of influence. Your child might not be a leader. He might be a follower, and you definitely need to, you know, to monitor who he's hanging with. But then, not only that, but the schools. Listen, yeah, we have a responsibility in the school system that, hey, look, we have to do what we have to do in the school system. All of us have a part. The churches have to be involved. You know, we have to be involved. I don't want to stand on my soapbox, but we all have to be involved. Every last one of us. It takes a village to raise a child. That's the old saying, and it really does. And we have to get involved in this matter. We could change how the outcome on how Beaumont is portrayed throughout the state, throughout this country. We should not be the number 3 ranked city in this state on violence. It shouldn't happen because we have enough people in this city who are concerned about the welfare of our city. So let's make the necessary changes. Let's get involved. So I want to thank Mo again for coming today. I want to thank you for joining us on What's Happening in Our Neighborhood. And we will see you next time on the air.